is I, John O'Dragon, the uncommon voice for the common man, coming to you today live from Shadyside, Ohio, where I am a scant 5 miles south of the epicenter of a controversy that starts with the Boy Scouts of America and the gay and lesbian activists. That's right. Now, a few videos ago, I reported to you that up in Bridgeport, there is a Cub Scout pack that it was found out that they had a leader who was a lesbian. Now, that whole incident fueled a big controversy around here. I reported that I thought that that story might have national implications because it would get legs in journalistic terms and somehow, some way make it to the national news. Well, it really didn't take off the way I thought it was going to until yesterday. Yesterday, in their infinite wisdom, the Boy Scouts of America reaffirmed their policy about having no gays as scout leaders. And I guarantee you this whole policy review had been underway for about 2 years, but this little incident in Bridgeport brought this thing to a head because they petitioned the Boy Scouts to review their policies on having no gays as scout leader. And as a decent thing to do for these people in Bridgeport, they decided that they would at least look this thing over and review it. Well, they reviewed it, and they said, no, we're still not going to have gays as scout leaders. Now, I'm sure this infuriates all these people up in Bridgeport, but the question has to be asked, how is it that this woman's lesbianism got out in the first place? This is not Obama's military. Don't ask, don't tell. And you can just reverse the policy to just let all the gays in. This is a private organization, and they have the right to decide who and what as far as their membership goes. And, in fact, this is going to infuriate the left-wing wackos, as you well know. And the gay, lesbian, cross-gender, cross-species, left-wing thugs that they are going to be very upset about this. But it doesn't matter how upset they get, because the Supreme Court of the United States sided with the Boy Scouts when that issue went before them. That's right, the Supreme Court, the same Supreme Court that these left-wing lunatics were singing the praises of when they deemed Obamacare as constitutional. Well, that same Supreme Court told the Boy Scouts of America that they don't have to have gay scout leaders if they don't want to. Sorry about that, you left-wing lunatics. You win some, and you lose some, and you lost this one. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Boy Scouts of America for standing tall against these damn homosexual thugs, because that's all they are. 9 times out of 10, when they see something they don't like, they will force these people, by boycotts or whatever, to see things their way. And 9 times out of 10, they win. But they didn't win this one. And the Boy Scouts of America stood tall for the rights of heterosexuals who don't want their children running around with homosexuals. There's a big difference between the Boy Scouts of America and Penn State University. Now, with that being said, let us think about this for a little bit. I personally have nothing against gay people, but I have the right to have my child in an organization where he's not exposed to them. I don't want my 10-year-old exposed to a lesbian. That's just all there is to it. Was that a bad choice of terms? Well, anyways, I digress. But you understand where I'm coming from. I have the right not to have my child involved in anything like this, because I guarantee you this, credits to Navy Beans, somehow, some way, her sexuality will somehow get loose in her teachings of our children. And, once again, as far as I'm concerned, as long as a private organization does not take any federal or government money, they have the right to pick and choose who and what they have in their organization. And to be honest about it, if I were the Bridgeport Cub Scouts, I would start a gay Cub Scout pack. And then if they wanted to exclude heterosexuals, they could. That would be their constitutional right as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But the simple fact of the matter is the Boy Scouts don't want that kind of chicanery in their organizations. And they reaffirmed their policy, and good for them. I'm glad they stood up to this damn gay activist thugs. I'm glad. And about these thugs and their willing accomplices in the Democratic Party. Now, we all know that the Democrats love the gays. We know that. We understand that. Well, hell, Barney Frank is Barney. I love my Frankfurters. Frank, he is a gay guy. There's no problem with that. But they happen to be Democrats. And let me point out something to you. When that decision from the Supreme Court came out in 1998, or 1988, it was a damn Democrats. Well, it was 88, 98. I can't remember. Whatever it was, when they made that decision, it was that year that the Boy Scouts of America brought in the colors, the American flag, to the Democratic National Convention. And guess what? They were booed. They were booed at the Democratic National Convention when they brought in their colors because all these damn worthless Democrats were upset with the Boy Scouts for even thinking about taking this issue to the Supreme Court. And when the Supreme Court sees things the Boy Scouts way, when they bring in their colors at the Democratic National Convention, they were resoundingly booed. And that is a travesty. But that's what you expect from the new Democratic Party that has been overrun by these radical left-wing liberals. We all know what's going on in the Democratic Party now. It's not the Democratic Party of my grandfather or my father, the reasonable Democrats. It's overrun with these left-wing lunatics like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and all these radical liberals. That's today's Democratic Party, and I guarantee you this, that decision by the Boy Scouts is not going to sit well with them. And all I got to say to you people is this: sorry about your damn luck. Any organization that would boo the Boy Scouts deserves exactly what they get, and I am glad that the Boy Scouts of America told you and your gay activists to go pound it. Did I say that? Well, at any rate, until next time, this is your favorite conservative, Ronald Reagan, saying this to you now. Hey, Obama, why don't you executive order that? Until next time, over and out.